All right, so my man James emails me, Wellington while you're accumulating and Wellesley while you're in decumulating phase. So it's actually a pretty good way to look at it. Obviously, everyone's situation is different. Always got to adjust or qualify that. You know, I don't know what your status is, but I think it's actually a pretty good way to look at it, man. Now, for the record, I never had any bonds until right now, right? Because I don't really believe in bonds. It doesn't matter what I believe in them. They do exist, and they are real. But at the end of the day, I say that a lot, don't I? At the end of the day. I got to think of a different phrase to say. A new Josh catchphrase. Anyway, at the end of the day, but I have bonds now because I do worry about a significant market chaos. And if I need to have access to my money, I don't want it to be down 57% a la 2007, 8, and through to 9. That's not good. That's bad. That's going to be bad. It's going to be tough for people to recover from that if that were to happen. I have no clue, folks. People say, what do you think, man? I got no idea. None. I got no idea. Do I think the markets will decline? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think it'll decline 57% like it happened in 2008? Probably not. Probably not. You know, because the globalist cabal who runs everything, they got money in the markets, man. If the markets fell 57%, a lot of these guys are going to be on their backs. So probably won't, but I mean, shoot, it happened in 1930, 31, 32, happened in 2007, 8, 9. That's just a fact, a jack. You know, 1973, 74, when you factor in inflation, pretty significant declines. 2001 and 2, pretty significant declines. So it's not foreign that the markets tumble significantly. I don't want it tumbling significantly while I'm out of work for some reason. I have no income coming in. See, that's the issue. A market decline while you're struggling to pay the bills is the worst case scenario in my opinion. And I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes, myself. But then I wasn't self-employed. And then I was working at USAA. I'm going up a hill, so I'll probably start breathing heavily. Get these little small, short, squat legs I got to churn up this hill. I'm 5'9", in case anyone didn't know. I'm not small, I'm not tall, I'm just 5'9". I'm squat, though, or stocky, I guess what they say. You remember Tough Skins jeans? Tough Skins. That's what we used to have. I'm not sure if those were... they weren't fancy boy jeans, I'll tell you that right now. We used to pass them down for me. I think I got them from my cousin Dale in California. And I wear them. I give them to my brother when I grew out of them. Tough Skins. Anyway, so I can't afford, as self-employed, a market chaos out of 2008 and my income falling. In 2008, I was able to survive that simple, well, because I had a steady income. Even that was freaking scary, dudes. And I've shared this with you before. Hope this is coming in. But we had just moved everybody down to Texas. It's in July in South Texas. I'd been at USA for a month, that's it. Making pretty good money. More money than I ever made before. I think my salary is like $77,000. You know, they moved us down there. It's crazy, man. And then the S starts hitting the fan. And I was not busy. I had pretty much nothing to do. The financial planning department at USAA, they had planned for, I don't know exactly what their planning methodology was, but they had planned for a lot more growth than we got, if that makes sense. So basically, if you had a CFP, you could fog a mirror. They were desperate for you. They'd move you down, they'd buy your house, pay you a good salary, wonderful benefits, profit sharing, match, easy gig. When I mean easy, it's just sitting in a cube. You know what I'm saying? Just working at USA was fantastic. All kinds of things at campus is fantastic. I think they say it's like the biggest building in America or something like that. after the Pentagon, the biggest office building. I don't know if that's still true, but it was huge. It was fun. But you get down there, so ships are burning, you know what I'm saying? I'm making $77,000, just pulled my whole family down there. I think I was the last guy who they actually bought a house for, or sold, or yeah, bought the house. So they guaranteed they'd buy my house, because they did that in March of 2008 is when I put the contract in, to come down in June. So they said, 2 months, we'll buy your house at a certain price, and we'll move everything. We'll pay to relocate you. I mean, you could not turn it down. Anyway, so I get down there, and in June, I think my wife and kids were still back in Virginia, actually, if memory serves. I think for the first month it was just me, and we bought a house too big. It worked out, only but for the grace of God, man. And I'm actually not sure that's God's grace that made it work out, because hindsight, you're not sure if you're the beneficiary of God's grace, or you got lucky, or sometimes you think you might be the beneficiary of God's grace when it comes to financial success. Really? Anyway, whatever. It did work out. But so we bought this house because it was huge. I mean, I just can't tell you how insanely cheap the real estate was in San Antonio at that point. And we weren't in San Antonio. We were in Bernie, which is Kendall County, right on the footsteps of the hill country, what they call that. And it's just a great house. The location was good. It's not anymore. Now it's just insane how busy it is. But I think we paid $308, $320 for a house. We ended up selling our house back in Virginia for $250, if memory serves. But we didn't have a whole lot of equity in that home, right? So we had a little bit, but not much, because we had just put an addition on like 7, 8 months before for a second bathroom. So we had lived there for 5, 6 years, just 3 tiny bathrooms, tiny beds in one bath, and I guess like 1,100, 1,200 square foot. No garage, no paved driveway, nothing. Loved the house, but it was an older home, just single family ranch home. Nothing big, but when the kids, we had 2 boys, and the girls were getting older. We said we gotta get a second bedroom or bathroom here, and a master bedroom, because we didn't have a master bedroom back then. Charlotte and I, just nothing, probably 8 by 8 or something like that. Well, I don't even think it's 10 by 10. Anyway, so that's what we're used to. My man Willie did some new cabinets for us. He did it by himself. Great. It took a long time, but it's, we're upgrading our home because we had lived there for a while. I was making a little bit of money in 2007. I had a decent sized asset base for clients and whatnot. Wasn't making $75,000, but back then the price of stuff wasn't the same either. So anyway, the long story short is we finally had some money to put into upgrading the home. So we upgraded the cabinets and we put an addition on. We did that with our home equity line of credit, because back then, they'd give you a home equity line of credit at like 100 to 100, even 2% loan to value. It was crazy, which is pretty much what we did. So we hardly had any equity. So we sold the house, we walked away basically even Steven. So you're thinking, you're like, oh man, you must have made a lot of money. Nope. Hey, how are you guys? Nope, didn't make crap. We got enough to get out from under that debt, but that's it. So then we turn around and go to Texas, and we got a bigger debt now, because now the house, I think it was $320. No, I think it was $320 what we paid. Amortize that over 30 years, which we did. I can't remember what we did, 5% down or something like that with the VA one, I just forgot. But you can figure that's what, about $2,500 a month for a mortgage, because property taxes in Texas are high. And you're like, all right, well, we're used to paying, $1,500 a month for mortgage on an income stream that was significantly less than what I was going to be making at USA. So while I was beginning to make a little bit of money, I was probably making $50,000 a year. And I think, did we even have I can't remember. I just remember we had I can't remember if we had car loans, but I just don't recall. But anyway, so we get down to Texas, And we got this mortgage, like I said, about $300,000 mortgage or something like that. I think I had just enough from the sale of our home in Virginia to pay for the 5% VA loan down payment, if memory serves. All right, so now we're paying about roughly $2,500 a month in mortgage. I'm making $77,000 a year. I had about $20,000 on a credit card at 0% interest, so I thought, I don't think I had a car loan. I think I was able to pay off all those cars. I think so. I think we had no car loan. I think I might put up my car loans on the equity line of credit. That's what I did. So we got no equity. We probably got $20,000 in our accounts, retirement, our investment accounts. And so we get down there, and there's nothing for me to do. I'm like sitting there, like picking my nose, like, whoa, this is not sustainable. And so I go into the my first graded call. My stupid boss gave me an FE. I'm like, man, that's great. That's far exceeds. I thought, no, it wasn't far exceeds. Is BE is what it was. That's what it was. I thought it was beyond expectations. No, it was below expectations. So it was like the worst grade you could get. I remember him telling me, I was like, whoa, what the hell? I've been doing this for, at that point, 10 years as a financial advisor. All these guys around here, none of them have been out in the real world. They've just been working at USA. Well, the way we do things at USA is different. I said, really? Okay. You're not trying to build a relationship with clients? Nope. We need you to get in and get out. Get in and get out. I was like, okay. Anyway, I'll never forget. So this is in probably August of 2008. So I'd only been at USA working for about 2 months. Yeah, I think it was July or August. I remember that. My wife had just moved down with the kiddos. I remember I was like devastated when I got this BE below expectations. I was like, holy crap. I remember calling her saying, man, I think we made a mistake. And she was like, you have to suck it up, dude, because you're the one who convinced me to come down here. She wasn't all that keen on moving down there because she doesn't like big change like that. But I told her, I said, I can see the future, and the future doesn't look good if we stay in Virginia because you could kind of see what was happening with with the markets and your assets. I mean, you can see in this business, when the markets get dicey, people get nervous, and they don't want to pay you for investment management as much as they did when the markets are up, or even financial planning. It's actually kind of interesting. You can see the ebb and flow. The flow recedes a lot when the markets go down. In terms of my financial planning I'm doing now, it's interesting. And you can just see it, man. People get nervous. Inflation, the level of business hasn't dried up, but it's certainly less than what it was 3 months ago. You might be able to attribute that to the summer. I actually think it's because the markets and the inflation, people are less inclined to part with their hard-earned dollars when things are getting tight. And that's a concern, not gonna lie to you. So I'm like, ooh, but be it as it may, it'll work or it won't. I'm in a better position now than I was back then. That's for doggone sure. Anyway, so now we're in July, excuse me. So I remember like it was yesterday. Had that call my wife thinking, man, I think we made a mistake. And I'm just like, whew, nervous as a Nelly. I'm thinking I'm gonna get fired, dude. And like, if I get fired, what the hell am I gonna do? I remember we walked around, what was it called? Days of Vala Mall. It was across the street from where Six Flags over Texas is. I forgot what it's called. And this is probably July. And I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna have to get another job because I'm sure I'm not gonna be long for this. I'm thinking, what am I gonna do next? Whew. Hey, how are you? And I just remember looking at this company that's down there in that mall, whatever it's called, like International Global Investments or something like that. It sounds horrible, but it's like, I guess I might have to look up my resume because there's no way USA is going to keep me. I'm slow. I'm not doing anything. And then I got a bad grade on my first call. I was like, this is not going to be good. But I just remember sitting there, little kids were eating ice cream at the mall there across the street from Six Flags over Texas. And I just remember in the back of my head thinking, this is bad. Enjoy it while we can, because this could go from bad to worse. So let's put that in our context of Wellesley versus Wellington. All right, now let's say for simplicity, you got $100,000 in your portfolio, just for simplicity. And you're me. Now, I didn't have $100,000 back then. Or you're you, and you're 50, 45, 40, I don't care what it is. You have X amount of dollars. It's 100,000 is a nice round number. You're like, all right, worst case scenario is you got a million. I don't care, 10,000. Just a nice round number. Worst case scenario is, you ready? You get your butt fired, and you have to pull from your retirement accounts or your portfolio. I don't care if it literally matters not. If it's a retirement account, it's even worse because you got to pay penalties on top of taxes, which means that $100,000 is inherently reduced by the taxes and the penalties. All right, so the worst case scenario, like, oh, I just got canned or I got laid off, so I got no income coming in. This is what happened to me. I'm heavy in debt. I didn't get laid off or canned, but I was worried about it. I was sitting there in my big old house, and we have these neighbors who are kind of assholes. They turn out just fakers. Just fakers. I hate fakers, like social climbers. And I don't know, they were jealous because we had bought the house they wanted. They're from Syracuse, and we had gotten to the house like 2 months before they did. Or I guess they took too long to buy, I can't remember. But I remember, I didn't like these guys. I didn't like them at all. It turns out big libs, just clowns. But they acted like, at least the husband would act like, when we're all sitting, because we had some like neighborhood things where I'll go out into a bar, and of course I don't drink, but we'd all hang out and shoot the smoke. And this guy would all act like he's what he thought Texans should be, all like, I'm a guns, and I was just like, you're a faker, dude. I know you're a lib. Anyway, I don't care. I just hate fakers. But anyway, I always remember, because these guys were just jealous that we got the house that they wanted. You could just see in their eyes, like, why do they deserve this over us? And they were just not good people. And I'm sure to this day they're still not, but God bless them. All right, anyway, so I'm sitting there thinking, if I get the boot, I got no money to draw on. My credit cards have been basically shut off because I'm maxed. I'm paying 14.5 interest rate, even though before I was paying 0 because the stupid bank says when a calamity comes, you can use your interest. We can change the interest rate on you. I got no equity in my home. So let's just say I had $20,000 in my retirement accounts, because by then I probably did, because USA is such a good match. I'm like, well, that's the only money I got. Well, taxes and penalty, if I have to pull that out, it's going to cost me $5,000. So I'm left with $15,000. That's it. $15,000 if I get laid off. My mortgage alone is $2,500 a month, man. So that's what, 6 months of mortgage payment? That doesn't include any other food or anything. I just remember thinking, what are these guys? If I get laid off, they're gonna laugh. And I just remember it pissed me off because I didn't trust these guys as far as I could kick them back then. But I just remember thinking, they would like for me to be laid off because they're jealous of me or us because we got the house they wanted. Oh man, it's so infuriating. And the funny thing is, I helped them like move furniture and stuff. They're just not good people. Just so self-centered. A lot of social climbers are like that. And that's the thing about the suburbs, my friends. A lot of these guys are like that. We've met key people down here who will go nameless, who've since moved on. Same thing. Turns out they're just social climbers. It's embarrassing. I don't get it. The minute you have served your purpose, you're like, yes, it's toilet paper, man. It's crazy. Anyway, so I'm sitting there thinking, man, what if? And it was nerve-wracking. So in that case, the $20,000 I had, I put into bonds to make sure that the markets, if they continued to decline, which it turned out they did, that I'd have some money to fall back on. Because again, by the way, to add fuel to the fire, my wife lives in South Texas in a mall in South San Antonio in the middle of the summertime with the kids. Two of them are still in diapers. The girls are, hell, Chloe at that point is 5, Maddie was 8. South Texas Mall, or South San Antonio Mall, which isn't the best place in the world, it turns out. Freaking hot as a witch's bum, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know if a witch's bum is hot, but a witch is something else is cold, so we'll just use the opposite. And, woo, she calls me, Josh, what up, girl? Car won't start. I'm like, oh. We had this old 1997 Dodge Caravan that we loved. Car wouldn't start. Thankfully, it's just a battery. But I'll never forget, that happened all the same time, all this stuff I'm worried about. And I'm like, oh no. Part two of that, my air conditioner, my Nissan Altima didn't work. So when I had to drive the windows down. I had these guys try to fix it at a pretty well-known thing off of 10 going to San Antonio from Bernie. And they charged me an arm and a leg and never fixed a damn thing. I mean, it'd work and then it wouldn't. It'd work and then it wouldn't. It's like, dude, it's just, remember, it's stressful. So you're looking at yourself, you're like, Wellington versus Wellesley. Man, just think about me in that case. Where would you rather be? Now, you can't say that Wellesley will survive as well as it did now as well as it did back then. But back then, Wellesley was down 9.8. That's it. Wellington was down 22% in 2008. Wellington from top to bottom, October 2007 to March 9th of 2009, was down 37%, or 32, 37, I think. Wellesley was down 22. Yeah, I mean, 22% is a hell of a lot different than 37 when that money is geared towards paying your mortgage, if that makes sense. So don't be so assured that just because you're not retired, you can afford to be more aggressive. Again, it's all about debt, man. Broken record. If I didn't have debt, now obviously we would not have been able to buy the house if I didn't have debt. I'll just be perfectly upfront with you. Having a mortgage allows you to buy the house. Having a mortgage is what allowed us to buy the house in Virginia. Having a home equity line of credit is what allowed us to put the addition on and get the new cabinets. You're leveraged, you're debtor, you're taking debt. So I can't say, how dare you have a mortgage, because those bills, I got one. But I can say, reality says, if things go south, a la 2008, and at the same time your job lets you go, you're in a world of hurt. So don't just look at Wellington as accumulation and Wellesley for decumulation. You got to look at specifically where you are today relative to your debt load and your job stability. Now, it turns out I didn't get laid off at USAA, but people got fired there all the time. And the reason they got fired, I mean, all kinds of different reasons. Some people made crap up about them. Some people got fired legitimately. But that's how they control you. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I was just a good boy. I said, well, I'm not going to get fired. I'll do what they tell me. They told me to freaking burn crap with MoGas. I'm burning crap with MoGas. If they tell me to vote for Biden, or what was his name, Obama back then, I'm voting for Obama to keep my job. I'm certainly not going to be a rabble-rouser because I had the debt. Anyway, long story, I know, but it's important, man. It depends on where you are and what you need to happen. Always look at it like this. I always do. My portfolio, I need me to provide 6 months of mortgage payments. And even if that's my IRA, I'm okay with that. Still sucks. Got to pay taxes and a penalty. But even if it were, I got my mortgage paid by that sucker. You know what I'm saying? 6 months, which means I could probably find another job won't be making necessarily what I'm making, but at least it'll give me enough time to find something where I can put food on the table and pay that sucker. The best thing, of course, is not to have the mortgage to begin with. All right, love to hear your thoughts. If you want to put comments like how you were situated in 2008, love to hear them, man, because I remember. I can't tell you the stories I've heard from people later on who became clients, who were living the good life, and then boom, not living the good life anymore. 5,000 square foot homes, North Carolina, boom, laid off. Now they're all cramming in, 5 people in a 1,200 square foot townhome. You know, the money's gone. You think that only happened to people who weren't frugal? Yeah, you got another thing coming, man. All right, love your thoughts. See ya.